All right.
Hey.
Hello, sir.
Hey. You can hear?
I can hear.
Woohoo! What happened?
I don't know.
How come it works now?
I had to restart everything again. It's so frustrating. I don't know why it does that.
I don't either.
But
don't be that frustrated. Thanks for hosting it. I love you, buddy.
Yeah. I'm sorry. I'm glad we got to work. I don't know where Bianca is. She was literally there a second ago.
Really?
Well, she was on talking to you, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So what the heck, B? Come on.
Did you invite her again?
Yeah. Here she is.
Here she is.
Yay! I can hear everybody.
Hooray!
How'd you figure it out, Greg?
What was that?
How did you figure it out?
I just had to restart everything again.
Oh, boo.
The last couple of times I've been able to just restart Chrome and that works, but this time I had to restart everything. So
okay.
I don't know.
Okay,
There's some correlation between when I let my kids use my computer and when it doesn't work, but I haven't figured out exactly
what that correlation
is. I think it's a wind speed thing.
Yeah.
Also, I have to be out of here by 9:45. I got to go get the donuts today.
What time is it right now?
8:54. So
all right, so we got to get moving.
So we got 45 minutes. Boom. We got to leave.
Boom. All right.
55.
Who starts? I'll probably start us off because I haven't started us off in a while. Is
that may be the case.
I know I'm not picking because I picked last week.
That's right. Do I pick this week or does Bianca pick this week?
I think you picked this week, Greg.
All right.
That's going to make it less competitive. That's perfect. And so that
just right off the bat.
So I intro and then B starts.
That's right.
I do second and then you
go
third.
Last.
Right?
That's right.
Perfect.
All right.
Welcome all audience members to another installment of This Week in Gratitude with Greg over there in San Antonio, Texas. Me, my name is Jason. I'm down up here in Michigan, Muskegon. And then what's her face? Bianca Gazzada. She's over there in Seattle. We're just three pastor friends that love checking in with one another and hearing what God's up to and see what's going on in each other's lives. And if you like us, please subscribe. Please like us. We go through the three things that have kind of struck a chord in our lives over the week, and then we rotate who picks the five that are the best of those. And this week it's Greg, and then now we just added a new section, B-sides. With I think it's why I woke up today.
You just reminded me I needed to think of a B-side.
Oh boy. Oh boy, it's gonna be one of those ones, huh? So I'm glad you joined us, and welcome aboard. And I'm excited for this week because I got some things that I want to talk about with everybody.
Nice.
Bam.
Hey, if you like this, make sure you subscribe and tell your friends about it.
Yeah.
Let them know on Facebook and Twitter and all that stuff. Spread it around.
All right.
All right. So,
all right, B starts. Yeah.
Oh, I thought it was Jason. Sorry. In a turn of events, I have so many things I've done this week. And I literally was like, I don't have 3 things. And then I looked at my little planner and I've done a lot this past week. So you don't even get to hear all of them, but I'm going to choose 3. And none of them are dumb TV shows. And so my first one will be that I went to see Manchester Orchestra on Sunday. I forget what day it was, a few days ago. And I love that band. I love them live. I did go by myself because I couldn't find anyone to go with me, which isn't true. Everyone said, "Oh, that sounds awesome. I'll go with you. I'll go with you," and then no one went and got their tickets. So it ended up being just me. And I contemplated, just sitting out. It was like $20. And then I was like, no, I'm going to kick myself if I don't go. And so I went by myself. I talked to people in the venue, so it wasn't a total loss. And then what made it great was the band, the show they put on. I guess I'm a real fan because I knew all the songs, and I had been, I like their old stuff. I like their new stuff too. It was interesting because Andy, the lead singer, who has just got a big personality, which is a lot of reason why people like glom on to Manchester Orchestra. He just was kind of in a mood, like not feeling it. And I was like, don't care. I still want to hear, I just want to hear you play music. You don't have to be funny. You don't have to like say all these deep things that he's known to say. It was just like, he even said, I'm just not feeling it tonight. I'm not really going to talk. Do you mind if I just play music? And I was like, yeah, that's fine. So got a lot of songs in. And anyway, I'm just glad I went. And if you ever get the chance to see Manchester Orchestra in your town, you should definitely go.
Jason, how jealous does that make you, man?
Actually, it doesn't make me jealous. It makes me my heart break. I wish I was just in the same town as Bianca.
I know you guys would come with me if you were here.
I know. I was. But I too am a huge fan. My little brother went to see him the night before you up down in LA. So I'm excited. That's awesome. I wish I was there just so I could go with you. But yeah. Those guys, great. I'm a huge fan. That guy's good music. He keeps putting out new music and blowing it up. I love that.
Yeah, and so the new album is good. It's already out. We already said what it was called a few podcasts ago, but now I've forgotten what it is. It's something like A Few Miles from the Surface or something like that.
Yeah, Mile. A Black Mile to
the surface.
To the surface or something like that.
Yeah, but definitely if you're going to get into them, get into some of their old stuff, like their 2007 album, their 2010 album. Just really, really good rockin' stuff. I
think you like me best when I sing. That's one of my favorite lines that he's ever come out with.
Yeah.
I love that. That guy is a jam.
Yeah. Yeah. Anyway, it was a good live show.
How was it going alone?
It was fine. I just I got there late so that I could miss the openers. It was already really late for me. So it's one of my favorite venues. It was an all ages show. So because they kind of attract a younger crowd too, so they couldn't come up to the bar. So I just stood in the bar. There were less people up there, and it was higher up too. I just let the kids do the kid thing on the floor, and then so I was up on this up high, and then since I'm so small, I'm so short, people didn't mind that I just kind of said, hey, can I stand here to be at the beginning of the balcony? And they're like, sure, you're not really blocking my view. So anyway. Yeah, it was fun. It was fine. I'm not going to do it again. I'm not going to plan on doing that again, but it was fun.
That's awesome.
Did you find yourself crowd watching? Oh, we got to make this short. Okay,
yeah.
45 minutes.
Yeah, I always do though, so that wasn't unique at all. I
just wish I was there, so I want to hear more and more. But we got to keep cruising.
You got to give us your first one, Jason.
Cruise.
Yeah, my first one is Ghost in the Shell, the movie. Oh. I don't know if you've seen. I was not wanting to see the movie, and mainly because every clip that I've seen, the trailer made it. I didn't want to watch her walking around in spandex the whole time and just shooting people.
What's wrong with you, man? Why would you not want to watch that?
I don't know. I was just like, this isn't. But then there was a more recent trailer started to show the storyline of the movie.
Yeah.
So then that got me a little intrigued because a couple times ago I mentioned I'm reading. Well, I just love the word ghost. I don't know why. Especially when that's one of my favorite pieces of the King James. The Holy Ghost, giving up the ghost. I don't know. There's just describing the human soul as a ghost. I don't know. It's just attractive to me. It's poetic or something like that. But anyway, I sat through the movie. It's visually stunning. It has an amazing storyline. It has a spider tank. Awesome. See, I wanted to throw that in there. So if you go in thinking you're gonna see a 6, you'll go in and you'll see a 9. You know, I want to at the same time like say this movie's amazing, but in the same time, like in the same sentence, I want to say lower expectations.
Lower expectations.
Bianca, have you seen the movie?
No. And now that you told me there's a snake or a spider pit in it, I'm not going to see that.
A spider tank, like it's a tank, but it's a spider.
Like a military weapon, not like a fish tank.
Not like a fish tank. No, I didn't literally grow up in the church.
Now I actually reverse 180. I have to see this movie in order that I know what you guys are even talking about.
Yeah, because
I'm picturing a spider, a big one that people like sit in.
Yeah, and they shoot things. That's it. That's what just, and that's kind of.
Okay, I'm back to 0. Yeah, I'm not watching.
No, because that's one of the the drawing pieces of it. Like they don't even explain it. There's like, oh, send in the spider tank, and all of a sudden you see a spider tank.
So I have seen it, Jason, and I'll second your I think the philosophical stuff in the movie is really interesting.
Me too, and the characters
and the timeliness of it makes sense.
Yeah.
I did not love the movie at all, so I don't know. I would consider lower expectations.
You don't use the word love. Did you like the movie?
Oh no, I didn't really like it.
Okay. I didn't love the movie.
Yeah, well, I did not. That's true. It's a watchable movie. I don't know. I did not like it that much. I thought it was kind of boring. But I don't know. Jason and I are different, it turns out. Who knew?
It does. Don't send a rep. Don't send a rep.
Jason's right. If you go in with low expectations, you may enjoy it more.
Yeah.
I had fairly low expectations as well, but they were met. I like it when Jason pulls out a movie that we've already seen. Because usually it's Bianca and I giving Jason a movie to watch.
I know.
Every once in a while, Jason comes back with a movie he's like, all right, I like that.
Except you did.
Yeah, except you did.
Yeah, except I didn't really like that one, but that's all right. I still like that you're throwing stuff out there for us. All right. I think we mentioned it last week, but I don't know that anybody gave a full-on review of it or not. But I watched the first 2 episodes of Orville, or The Orville, the New Seth MacFarlane show that's kind of like Star Trek, or exactly like Star Trek but funny.
Mm-hmm.
I really liked it. I liked the first 2 episodes a lot. There's a ton of really funny lines and funny characters that I'm excited to see kind of what they end up doing with it. Have either of you guys seen it yet?
Yeah.
No, but I've only heard bad things about it. I'm glad you like it.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I haven't seen it though.
I don't. It feels like one of those shows that if you think bad things about it, it's because you had the wrong idea of what it was going in.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So the people are wrong. Not the show.
Well, I mean, they might still be right. You know what I mean? But they had the wrong expectations.
Okay.
This is kind of Jason's lower expectations thing, but in this if you think you're going to watch a sci-fi show that's a full-on sci-fi show, you're not going to enjoy this. And if you think you're going to watch a Seth MacFarlane comedy that's a full-on Seth MacFarlane comedy, you won't really enjoy it either. It's some kind of weird hybrid of those two that you have to be willing to kind of live in that space.
Okay, but you liked it.
I think it's really funny. It's got a bunch of really funny, subtle lines and jabs. Some of the relationships between some of the characters is hysterical. It's just really, really funny. But it also tries to be an actual show on some level, right? It's not like his surreal comedy in Ted or Family Guy or whatever. So it has this it has actual plot structure and storylines and character development and things like that.
Mm-hmm.
But that part's a little weird because it takes a couple of I've got to actually invest in these characters a little bit. But it's really interesting, and he's created this really interesting future world that looks a lot like Star Trek on purpose. But there's just a bunch of lines that are so a couple of times I had to almost pause the show because it was okay, that's a great line. I gotta laugh at that one without getting distracted by whatever comes next. It's so funny.
I have to laugh.
The stuff with him and his ex-wife on the show was fantastic.
Yeah.
His ability to kind of just subtly drop in that she cheated on him at any given point is fantastic. It's just really well done.
And I think I'm with you. I like that it's not Seth MacFarlane in that it's cleaner. I like that he's kind of stepped into the cleaner realm, and then I like that they've taken, I think, my favorite piece of Star Trek, which is the creative, like how can we explore, loving and accepting people and issues, how can we in a new and fresh way. And it was like, especially the second episode, they kept the storyline moved, so you're kept in the dark, like how is this happening, you can't put this together, but they're throwing humor on top of it, which is it's what's that one movie with Tim Allen?
Galaxy Quest.
Yeah, it's closer to Galaxy Quest than it is to Star Trek.
Yes, if you're a fan of Galaxy Quest, I think Orville's the show. I think I love that movie. I don't know why. That's one of my favorites.
It's a good movie.
It's not a straight up parody of Star Trek, right? I think that's one of the mistakes going into the show is like, oh, this is just gonna be a spoof of Star Trek, but it's not. Like, it's more like an homage to Star Trek.
Yeah,
but a very funny homage.
My in-laws started watching it, and they thought it was gonna be Star Trek, and they were they were really wrong. I don't know.
They've laid some stuff in the first couple episodes that you could see it developing as an actual series and could be really interesting. So we'll see. I'm looking forward to it, though. I like the first two episodes. My kids liked watching it with us. That was kind of fun. And we laugh at different parts, and that's always kind of fun too.
Okay, I'm gonna check it out. I actually
take a look, V.
Yeah. Okay, my next one is, let me choose. Well, I'll just say last night was our first youth group back for the school year.
Nice.
And just like every event that we've ever had, I've been here for 4.5 years. Every new event we have, or anyway, every time we do something again, we always have more people than we did the year before. And so last night at our kickoff, we normally have about 95 or around that number. And last night we had 112 kids.
What?
I know, it was so many. And I fed them. We fed them. It was like a barbecue, like a kickoff barbecue. And it was mayhem and it was crazy, but it was really fun. So I'm a little tired, but and it was the intern for this year. It was his first Wednesday Rock that he'd been to that wasn't a summer one. Nice. And some of the volunteers that came, it was their first one just to see if they wanted to be a volunteer. Oh my gosh. And we didn't have a lot of them in town because UW hasn't started yet. So anyway, it was a great kickoff.
Your university has not started yet?
It doesn't start till next Wednesday.
How is that remotely possible?
Yeah, Seattle Pacific and UW are not haven't started yet.
They don't start till October almost?
Yeah, that was the same for when I was in college too. It's because September is still kind of considered summer around here, except for the past couple of weeks. It's been so cold. Yeah, it's pretty great, but we go till late June, so I don't know what that.
Oh yeah, that stinks.
Yeah. So anyway, it was just a great time. I just like to highlight, I think this podcast is supposed to be like milestones or whatever. So another milestone, another middle school ministry year has begun. We have more kids than we've ever had before. So I need to get more volunteers than I've ever had before. And yeah, I'm just excited for the year and just seeing kids that I've heard of for a long time, and now they're here and they're checking it out, and it seemed like everyone had fun. They might be back next week, and yeah, it was just a great time. That was last night. That's it.
A+.
Nice, I like it.
Moving on.
That's awesome. I'm excited for you, B.
Yeah, thanks.
I'm excited to hear these stories kind of throughout the year too.
I know, it'll be a lot of them.
I like to hear that there's growth and health, and you're right in the middle of it. I love that.
Yeah, for sure. It's the best job in the world.
That with you, and you're amazing. My second one is I think there's kind of a theme just because Ghost in the Shell is on rental now, and so this is Michael Kiwanuka. You know that guy?
Yeah, the musician.
we've mentioned him before, and I
Yeah.
think you even might have mentioned that he had a more recent album than the one that was in 2012 that I was the one listening to. But on Amazon Music, they just released his one that was released in 2016, which was Love and Hate. And I'm just listening to it, I'm liking it. So
I'm gonna find his
I think
actual last name.
Yeah,
So people
give me
can
his
look
real
him up.
name so we can give him a
it's
shout out.
It's Kiwanuka.
Hey,
All right.
Kiwanuka.
Yeah,
And he's the
Oh,
guy who
you
did
want
the theme song to
Big Little Lies.
Big Little Lies. Okay.
Yeah,
he's
and
solid.
among other things.
Yeah, but that's where people might know him. That's where we talked about him last time.
I think that's right.
Yeah.
What was it? He had a hit. I think it was called Home. His hit. I think it's on the radio here sometimes, but yeah, I like him a lot. Jay, I'm gonna check that out. It's on. Are you saying it's for free? Like you can listen to it on? I guess you can listen to it on Spotify.
If you're Amazon Prime, they just releasing that.
Yeah.
Amazon Prime Music. They just like every once in a while they release like they get the rights to certain albums.
What do you like about it, Jason?
I love how his voice is just so smooth. I love that his voice has like a jazz soul, like it's got so many textures and layers. His voice is what the same reason I think I like Pearl Jam. Let's talk about Pearl Jam for a little bit.
Oh, here we go again. Here we go. Welcome to This Week in Pearl Jam. We're glad you're with us.
He has that he has that Eddie Vedder quality. Like when you hear his voice, you have no idea what he sounds like. In that, it sounds larger than almost human. Like it sounds.
Yeah.
It sounds mystical. It's neat. There's no way I could visually. If you would have said, "Hey, draw me a picture of
what this guy looks like,"
what this guy looks like, and there's. Same thing happened with Eddie Vedder. I heard him like 6 months before I saw him, and I almost took it down a notch. I was like, "Oh my gosh," like I don't know. I mean, like it was, anything after hearing his voice has got to be a disappointment. But anyway, that's it. Let's keep going.
All right, that's a good one.
Michael K.
Michael K. I think you said it right. How did you say that?
Kiwanuka.
Kiwanuka. It's easy, right?
It's easy. Just sound out the letters.
Michael Kiwanuka. Just sound it out.
Plus, Michael K. is a sports broadcaster from New York, so you have to not Michael K.
Michael K.
Kiwanuka.
Yeah, that doesn't sound so hard, Jason.
Yeah, Kiwanuka. I got it. From now on.
All right, my next one is I had kind of a fun experience this week. Josh Ritter has a new album coming out on Saturday or maybe Friday, and it's called The Gathering. And he sent out like an email to like people who are on his following list for whatever, and I don't know how or when I got on that, but I was on it, and he kind of said, "Hey, here's this, like if you pre-order it, this is all the stuff you get." And so, Josh Ritter is somebody that I like, and then also my son Calvin likes, but I think probably for different reasons. But it's cool. It's a fun like overlap that we have. So I pre-ordered his album for Calvin for his birthday, which is on Saturday, and so we got that in the mail this week. But it's like it's basically like a vinyl album, and then he sent like a cover from a vinyl album that's signed by him, so that's kind of cool. So Calvin got all this cool stuff for his birthday, so I gave it to him already because he also sent like the home demos of the album. But we went and sat in the car because it's the only place we have a CD player, it turns out, in our car. So Calvin and I sat in the car and listened through the album, the home demos the first time. But there is a song, Jason, that you're gonna like flip out for called "When Will I Be Changed." You should just look that one up now. It's on YouTube and stuff. It's the first release from that album, but it's nice. It's like right in your wheelhouse. You're gonna dig it a lot.
When Will I Be Changed? And I know that I'm on some email list. I didn't pre-order. I love that pre-order when bands like give weird stuff. Isn't that's just a shout out?
Because it wasn't much more than just buying the album anyway, right? So it's like, oh, that's cool.
That's fun. What was the name of the song I'm supposed to listen to?
The song you're supposed to listen to is "When Will I Be Changed."
When Will I Be Changed?
It's pretty special. You're gonna like that one a lot.
Okay.
If you don't, then I don't know you at all.
I like it. When will I be changed?
But I would highly recommend, based on, I've only heard that song like actually produced, but the other songs I've heard the house demos of, and he's back to doing Josh Ritter things, so that's kind of exciting.
It might be up on the NPR music. I know.
Yeah, he did release it on NPR, or like the live concert or whatever.
Yeah.
And they do that sometimes. I haven't listened to it all the way through though that way.
Okay.
I'm excited about, like, I listened to all the demos, so now I'm excited to hear it produced and be like, okay, these are the ones I actually really like. Like, which ones do I like more, and how does it change the order of what I like based on how they're produced? But I'm excited to have Josh Ritter's new stuff back in my life. So
he's good.
I'm looking forward to that.
I like him a lot. Okay, is it me?
Yes, I think it is.
Okay. So my next one is.
We have to have you talk like that in the rest of the show.
You guys.
Okay.
How you doing? How you doing?
The cutest things. Okay, so my next one is it's an organization that we work with here. Mostly we send high schoolers there, but we recently started sending middle schoolers. It's this it's literally a cafe. It's called Recovery Cafe, and it's downtown, and it's for people who are recovering from addictions. And it's small, it's a little cafe. People come in and they can get coffee and food, and there's classes being offered there. There's like yoga classes. There is also like addiction classes, and it's all free for them. Because this is based on donations. This organization runs based on donations. And so every once in a while, we partner with them. We have some high schoolers go with some adults, and we pretty much just a ministry of presence. We sit at the tables with the people. We get to hear their stories. Everyone who's in the cafe has to be at least 24 hours sober. So it's not a dangerous situation, but so yeah, it's a great thing for the kids to be exposed to, especially in Seattle. It's downtown, and so it's just kind of the reality of what else happens outside of this nice district that we pretty much all live in. And so yesterday was their annual fundraiser breakfast event that I went to. I go every year, and it's an opportunity for members, that's what they call the people who go to the cafe, for members to share their stories. They do a little video, and it's just amazing, these stories that people come from, and then they find Recovery Cafe, and they find community, and they find it's pretty much just things to distract them from what they really want to do when they're alone in their house or feel lonely, or their addiction. And so this community, this cafe, is just a distraction, and they go and there's a big shelves of books and games, and sometimes there's like our kids are there, and there are people to talk to, and there's resources. So anyway, so every year I go to this banquet. This year I saw some famous people, which is kind of cool. Or locally famous. They're not like you wouldn't know who they were, maybe. But and the room is huge. I mean, it's like probably like 80 tables of people, and so. Anyway, I love going every year. I love hearing the stories of transformation, and it just reminds me that the work is really hard. The transformation work is really hard, but never to give up hope, especially when you hear these numbers of opiate addictions, which Seattle is, up there as well, rising in the country. And you're like, wow, where's the hope? It's just getting worse and worse and worse. And this woman was up there saying, she's a doctor, and she's saying it's worse than when AIDS was at its worst, this opiate crisis, but never to lose hope. And then they have people up there telling their stories, just individual stories, like I'm just one person, but I used to be this way, and now I'm a mom with kids and a job and a small business and everything. And so anyway, I love stories like that, but specifically I love what Recovery Cafe is doing, and other places in the country are starting to model after how they do things. And so there's new ones coming up in other cities around the country. So I'm not sure which ones they are. I think one's in Florida, one's in San Jose. I think there may be two more, but they're all based on the success of Seattle's Recovery Cafe. So if you get an opportunity and you're looking for a place to give, definitely look up Recovery Cafe. They're in their drive right now to raise funds for the year. So look it up. Macklemore used to go, and he was suffering, and he has a little video to, this was years ago though, but you might stumble upon this video that Macklemore made, asking for support. So anyway, I'm always blessed to go, and it was yesterday, so I just was reminded, looking back at my calendar, oh yeah, I did that yesterday morning before all the crazy kickoff stuff happened. So anyway,
that's super amazing.
Shout out.
That is super amazing. Does it have any ties to the Homeboy Industries down in LA? Father Greg Boyle?
Oh, probably no. I know it doesn't, because I've read the founder. Killian wrote a book a few years ago, and so I read her book, and so I know it's totally grassroots. It's Seattle, everything. I mean, Killian, the founder, is from like North Carolina or something, but she's been in Seattle since the 90s, and then she started this organization when she figured out there was a need. And it's barely, I mean, if it is faith-based, you wouldn't know it. So it's not faith-based in that way, but obviously there is, the recovery language and all of that, but it's not related to any church, and they bring all these people around from Seattle to help support it.
It sounds so the same. If you ever have a chance, read
it's really similar.
Read
What's it called?
The book is Tattoos on the Heart: The Power of Boundless Compassion, and it's the story of this priest, Father Greg, Joseph Greg Boyle. I had the same experience, a couple years ago when I went to this. I brought high schoolers and middle schoolers to the same. I love those. I
didn't know you were doing that, Jay. I didn't know you went down there. That's cool.
Yeah,
Tattoos on the Heart is like one of the most important books for me in my my faith life. Yeah, that book's amazing. And
it sounds like it's similar idea. They just started with this cafe, and they started just ministering to people and meeting people where they're at, and boundless compassion. It's cool. I love that. I love that God's doing that stuff, and it is just so. It brings hope even to me, as you went down there over this last week, and I'm miles and miles away. Thanks for bringing that. That's a good one.
Yeah,
that's a really good one.
Yeah.
And that was 3 for you, and that means 3 for me. And my third is, I think I mentioned it, but a couple weeks ago, it was my son's birthday in August, towards the end of August, and one of my congregants gave him an inflatable raft. Just one of those inflatable rafts that you buy at Walmart or whatever like that, but it has oars. It's like a pretty nice one. And so just this past week, it's been hot here in Michigan. It's crazy. We were having like a second summer. It's been the warmest it's been all summer, because we kind of had a lot of rain in August, which was weird. But it's been muggy and hot. So we took kids, threw them in the van. We had bought one of those automatic blow up things, and we took this boat out on its maiden voyage, and it was huge. The waves were huge because I guess it was a hot wind coming across. So there's big old waves, and Elsie and Zeke were just smiling from ear to ear, and I had to turn over and let out all the water twice. Had the rope up front. I was just bringing them into the waves, and all the waves were crashing over them. It was kind of making it into like a water ride. It was just really fun to experience nature. Is there a truck? There's a truck landing in our podcast. That was awesome.
I live in a very busy city, and it's so hot in my office. I have to have the windows open. Sorry. I can't close them. I can already feel like that I'm so hot, and the windows are only half open.
You're wearing a sweatshirt, Bianca.
Well, that's not it. It's the heater is broken.
We totally could have passed that off like
I know, but it's not just one. It's the street that I'm on.
Bianca needs to work on a couple. Bianca needs to work on a couple trucks as we continue our podcast. We could have passed that up as your mechanic. But anyway, let's see. Just being out on Lake Michigan with the kids and smiling and having fun, and it was really, really fun. It was a good experience.
That's
grateful
awesome.
for it. Yeah, and great. And it's interesting. That's the first time, other than being on the ferry, that we've been out on the lake. it's an interesting piece that the same thing happened in Newport. Like there's a lot of people that live in Newport Beach that don't go to the beach, and it surprises me, you know. And I'm probably even more surprised being on the coast of Lake Michigan, how many people live here and don't spend time on Lake Michigan. It's interesting. I thought with like the Midwest, like, you know, just like the practical side of it. I don't know. It's easy childcare. It's easy, you know, like it's anyway, that's just a thing I'm surprised by. But it was fun just to get on the lake and first boat.
That's cool. One of my earliest memories is my parents having an inflatable raft like that.
Yeah?
Yeah, that we would take out on the like different places. I don't know why. I remember it being a really big deal when we got it, and I must have been like 4, and I remember like trying to figure out how to get it blown up every single time, and then like, the paddles. Like, I remember the oars from it, but
yeah, it was fun.
Cool,
it was fun. Zeke watching Zeke try to figure out the oars.
Right?
Yeah.
It was fun. That's awesome. I love that one. My last one is from a new book out called iGen. I don't know if you guys have seen this yet or not. Bianca, you should put this on your list.
Okay.
Let me see. I'm gonna pull up it's by Jean Twenge, Twenge. She wrote the book Generation Me and the Narcissist Epidemic or something like that. But this book is iGen, Why Today's Super Connected Kids Are Growing Up Less Rebellious, More Tolerant, Less Happy, and Completely Unprepared for Adulthood.
That's where I've heard this book, because it was quoted in the article that had been going around a few weeks ago, and I read the article about that topic.
Yeah, the book's amazing. It's she's a sociologist or like a social psychologist or something, so she's just dealing with surveys, and she's kind of broken the surveys down like these. You know, there's 4 or 5 like intergenerational surveys that have gone on forever that like, you know, freshmen in college from like 1965 have filled out this survey or whatever. And so she's taken these kinds of information, but it's pretty staggering and sobering. Like I'm as a parent with all of my kids are in what would be called the I generation, if that term sticks or whatever. But it's basically the group after millennials. And it's like I've had my oldest son listen to like the introduction, and he's like, yeah, that sounds like us. So it's in like working with college kids now, they're all like my oldest college kids are like the last of the millennials, and then my youngest college kids are like the first of this group, and it's a noticeable sort of gap even in those like 4 years. And her argument essentially is that the iPhone and smartphones radically sped up and polarized this kind of stuff. But the biggest, like one of the biggest takeaways in this one for me was that unlike other generations like Gen X or millennials or whatever, iGen, what you're finding in one subcategory of iGen, you find in all of them. It's sort of flattened out. And her argument is that as iPhones became more and more popular, so basically like the stats are something like 2 out of every 3 teenagers has an iPhone. Not just a cell phone, but an actual like an iPhone. And then the other third has some variant of a smartphone. But that's a crazy market saturation. And so what you have is rich, poor, white, Hispanic, whatever, they all have access to the internet and they all have access to social media. So it's leveled that playing field almost completely, which is really interesting because then some of the stuff you see that happens, and like the title hints, there's like some really positive things, right? There is a less rebellious, this generation, by and large, drinks less, has sex less, way less teen pregnancies, and way less homicides amongst teenagers. The flip side to that is it's the largest like mental illness epidemic in history. Like they're the most like mentally endangered generation ever. The suicide rate is like 3 times as high as it would have been for Gen Xers at the same age, Jason.
Wow.
which is crazy. And then
that's really crazy.
Yeah, the factors for suicide are much higher. So what you get is teenagers aren't killing each other; they're killing themselves, right? And that's a totally different problem. And it was actually part of her rationale for why that was like eye-opening for me, because I just hadn't put this together. But her basic argument is that guys, historically, when guys pick on each other or bully each other or are violent to each other, it stops, right? Like that there's this, like, if Jason and I were on a team and we had a guy we didn't like, we'd just punch him and that'd be the end of it.
Yeah.
And then he would go home and we would go home and it would be done. But women tend to be violent emotionally, which is totally different, and doesn't ever really stop. Like there's not an end to it necessarily, or there doesn't have to be an end to it. And then when that gets multiplied onto social media, that was the takeaway from the book, is like girls are way more likely to experience this stuff than guys are. Like way, way more. And guys experience it, but not anywhere near at the level girls do. And so you imagine like the kind of the cattiness of girls in school, but now that's online, and so there's no way to ever get away from it if you're somebody who's the brunt of that.
And it's magnified. It can go so much deeper.
And it becomes public, right? So it's not just your junior high that hears it. So the book is amazing. I'm like, I don't know, maybe 80% of the way through it, and I haven't read anything like these stats are wrong or things that she did wrong or whatever. But she's so thorough, and so much of the stuff that she's finding is resonating with the work I already do, that it's stunning. Like it's a really, I think it's gonna be a really important book to understand what's happening kind of around us.
Cool.
Yeah, that's good.
I think we all need that. I think I need that as a resource.
Yeah, there's an article that was going around. I can't remember what publication it was, but obviously it's digital, with those exact statistics. So if you don't have time to read the whole book, you can find that article probably just by Googling her name.
Yeah.
And it's
but the book's really good. I picked it up on Audible, so I just listened to it when I'm driving, and it's just super fascinating. Like she intersperses like stories with kids, like where they're explaining or they're talking about this stuff. But on the whole, it's just like it's a pretty remarkably like accurate and insightful picture of kids. I couldn't believe it. So yeah. So like the good news is they're not drinking, right? They're not going to parties and they're not having sex. And the bad news is they're staying at home and taking crazy amounts of illegal drugs. And so like you hold that with Bianca's like opioid crisis, and it's the same. Like they're both just coming at that problem from different directions. Like the reason there's an opioid crisis is because these kids are mentally so frustrated and isolated that seems like a good idea, right? And then that just spirals. I don't know. It's really interesting, and college seems to solve it in a certain way, because when they get to college, then they really start drinking and having sex. So they just do it way later than
if you can afford to go to college.
Yeah. So
okay, let's choose them.
Stuff, but it's worth
looking. Choose them.
Pick the 5.
I get to pick. All right. Well, good. So my 3 are the top 3. No.
And we'll go from there.
All right, let's see.
That's about right.
I'll go number 1. I love that Bianca's youth group is starting back up. I like hearing those stories. I'm excited about that. Nice work, B, on that one.
Thanks.
Number 2, I'll go with Zeke's raft.
Nice.
That brings me back to my childhood. I love raft. I love being on the water like that. Number 3 is going to be iGen, the book I was just talking about. I like that one a lot. Number 4, I'm going to give to the new Josh Ritter album. I like that one a ton. And then number 5 is going to be Recovery Cafe. I really love that work, and I love what they're doing, and I know how important that is. So
yeah,
my favorite expression, I think maybe in the world, I'm not positive, but like I love when people in recovery say my best thinking. Like it's just it's the best, like, because it's so honest and it's so accurate, and whatever they say after that shows you like, oh man, like we're all capable of really terrible thinking and believing it's our best thinking, right? Like oh, I love that.
There is actually a best thinking.
Right. Yeah, that's my favorite thing. All right. So.
Okay, let's do B-sides real quick. And may I mention
B-sides.
Okay,
B-sides!
song. And I just want to mention that while we were recording this podcast, I just got a new subscriber who just subscribed to the podcast because she was wondering why I was at work so early. I was like, I do a podcast, and now she's a subscriber. Woo!
Nice work,
okay. Here comes B-sides, and you can take as little or as long a time to describe it. Okay, I want tell me if this is overrated, underrated, or properly rated.
Oh, hey, real quick, before you ask, or before you give us a question, the band that plays the song that we have on B-side is San Cisco.
San Cisco.
Is that one word or two words?
Two words. SAN space CISCO.
Oh, great plug, Greg. Thank you for that. Overrated, underrated, or properly rated, and the category today is working. Is working overrated, underrated, or properly rated?
Yeah.
Because vacations are so fun.
Jason, you want to go first, or you want me to go first?
Working, overrated, underrated, or properly rated? I think. Yeah.
I'm gonna go underrated.
Underrated.
I think working gets a bad rap in our culture, and I think we have a terrible theology of work. So we are often just trying to figure out how to not work, right? Like that if we could just, like, I just had one of my kids say, like, oh man, if robots did everything, I would never have to work. And it's like, well, yeah, true, but why would that be an ideal situation, right?
Yeah.
And then work gets blamed for all kinds of things that are bad in our lives also, like, well, I hate this person at work, or that person works too much, or what. I think on the whole, we underrate how valuable and important work is as human beings. And having said that, I like not working, so I get it, but I do think it's underrated.
Okay. I'll go opposite of that. I think it's overrated. I think we work too much. I think we need more rest. I think I remember when John Gooch led that story. He led that worship song by, I forget, 10th Avenue North, that first one. And during the chorus, it says, "We will work no more," and we will work no more. I love that line. But I remember Tim Galligan said we should stop singing that song because we're still going to work in heaven.
Yeah.
And I don't think so. I don't think. I honestly don't. I think that's. I don't know. I think work's just way overrated.
Yeah, that's funny because I was gonna go properly rated because
oh boy, what a lame B-side!
I remember my strength is harmony, so obviously make sure everybody gets represented.
The middle
child. You gotta give us 4 options
strength.
next time, so somebody's always disappointed.
Because working is what makes vacation so great. Because vacations are great, but they probably wouldn't be as great if you didn't just put in all that hard work that fulfilled you in the way that work can, and then you're like just as fulfilled being on vacation. That's it.
Oh my gosh.
Okay, bye everybody.
Bye everybody.
Bye everybody.
Have fun.
Bye your friends. Subscribe, and we'll see you guys next week.
Woo!